Oh man, special day for me. We're here at Akwesasne, the Mohawk Indian Reservation, with Diane Boots. But her Indian name is...
Gawahawi.
Which means...
They carry her.
Now, this looks like your average everyday Indian, but she's not. She is a modern-day healer, or medicine man or woman as it would be, but not so much of the herbs and roots and trees and bark and stuff like that. We're talking about spiritual healer. Now, this proven to me because my mom died and my only brother died, and they tormented me, their spirits, not in an evil way, but just they kept coming back into my life right in front of my face, once in New York City, once in Washington, D.C., and to my other siblings. And I knew no other way out. I couldn't get away from them and worrying about them coming back to me. And then I'd heard that there was a healer, a spiritual healer, in our reservation. I came to her, and she did a ceremony, which I'd love for her to explain to us, please.
Okay. So I'm going to start by how it all started. I do pipe ceremonies with my teacher, and through a pipe ceremony, it came that I had to do a dead feast for my family. And that it was for my father's side, which is Greg's mother, which is my aunt, and his brother, and my Uncle Stillman. And they had come up, and the pipe ceremony, ancestors said that we needed to take care of them. And so I was like, oh, okay, they said I had to have a 4-day ceremony for them, and I was to call all my cousins and ask all my cousins to come in. And it was not only for them, but it was for all of our ancestors in our family to have their ceremony, so that we feasted all of them at the same time, and we honored them, all of them, at the same time, and to share our family time together. So I was a little timid, but I called everybody, and I said, I'm having this ceremony, and I told them what it was about, and I said, please come. Well, it was like that movie, what is that Ballfield one, make it and they'll come.
Oh, yeah.
What is that one?
It's the same thing, put up a Walmart and they'll show up.
Yeah.
Or a Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, and I remember feeling so shocked because it was in the fall, because we went through snow and rain, and it was cold.
It was 10 below zero.
It was in the fall, yeah. It got really, the weather really tested us. And so we ended up having tarps all over the place and 2 fires burning. We had a fire burning for Aunt Betty and Eddie and Uncle Stillman, and then we had another fire burning for everybody else. So, because we wanted to address those 3 relatives. And it wasn't until everybody started talking that it came through, like Greg had mentioned, that he was getting visited, and his sisters were getting visited, and then my other cousin Sandy, his father was visiting them and everything, and they kept saying, well, we don't know what's going on, how to take it or anything. So that's what that ceremony was for. And unknown to me, that I was amazed at how much came out of that ceremony. So what happened is that we lit a fire. We brought in the 4 directions. We brought in the ancestors, the Creator, Mother Earth, the grandfathers and grandmothers from the different directions. And we started our fire, and we asked the ancestors to come in. We asked, Betty and Eddie and Stillman and our family members to come into the fire. Excuse me. And before that, we put out flags filled with tobacco, and that was our sacred place. So that when people came in, they had to get smudged with sweet grass or sage, and then they can come into the area. We had a lot of people here. I think there was probably 15 people or more here. And like I said, I was totally shocked at the turnout. So what we did is we did pipe ceremonies 3 times a day to honor them and to reinforce all of the directions and everything. And what happened at that fire is that people received messages during our pipe ceremonies. People saw their relatives in the fire. People dreamed of their relatives. People felt their loved ones around them. And they weren't scared because it was explained to them that this is such a precious gift of spirit coming to our family to acknowledge us. And my gift, one of my gifts is the coming and going of the spirit. So my gift is bringing in the children, the babies, the start of life. So I do midwifery, but I'm not a certified midwife. I'm a doula that stays at the hospital and helps women labor, and I educate and do the support. And then we do a birth ceremony. And then when my pipe is spiral, representing the cycle of life, and then I also help people that are grieving. So it's the whole cycle of life that I take care of. That's my gift. So I was new to this when all this happened, because I was new in my spirituality. We're talking, how many years, Greg?
Oh my goodness, 40, better.
Yeah, it's been a long time. And we fed the fire, we did prayers by the fire, family members sat by the fire, and they told stories that they never told anybody before. And they told stories that were happy, stories that were tragic, stories that, you know, and you could just see our family bonding together more and more. And it was so beautiful to watch. My teacher came and helped with the pipe ceremonies. And she was like, wow, if I didn't see this, I'm so amazed by your family, you know, that they just trusted us enough to do this.
Now you're letting us off way too easy here on this fire thing, because let me paint the true picture, because we were all standing right here, and I'm not more than 30 feet away from where we're sitting right now, out behind the house. They built 2 fires. The fire for our family, or our immediate family that was bothering us, in this plane, because their spirit had not passed to the next plane, they stayed here to bother us. I'll try to make this short.
That's okay.
But
That's okay.
we all stood around the fire at 10 below zero, and it had to be for the longest time, but nobody was even cold. I mean, it was just like standing there in the summertime in Florida, and we're looking down in the fire, and as we stand there and start talking and telling stories, the fire's building in the core, hotter and hotter and hotter for no reason. The wind's not blowing, and all of a sudden, I look down, and my mother is just smiling up at me from the very bottom, the pit of the fire. And almost at the same time, my older sister, Jeffra, sees my only brother, Eddie's face start from the bottom, the pit of the fire, and come straight up at her slowly. And I mean, clear as a bell. You could have blown her over with a feather, because she had goose pimples everywhere. And as we told the stories, the fire built, but for no reason other than our energy.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And that's what it is everybody has it. Everybody has the gift of spirit. Everybody has it. And it's like anything. You got to develop it, you know? And that's why when you called me a spiritual healer and stuff, I don't think of myself as that. Because I'm think of myself more as a teacher than I do a spiritual healer, because I firmly believe everybody has it. Everybody has spiritual gifts, you know. It's just if you choose to tap into them or not.
If you can, I don't know if you can you tell us how the ceremony took place, how they prepared the food and then served the older?
Yeah.
And
so we did 3 pipe ceremonies a day, and we fed the fire 3 times a day. So whatever food was brought in, it was always put on a dish. Like when somebody passes away here, we always have a dish by the coffin, and that is the food for whoever has passed. because we believe that when they come back to the physical world, that they would like to enjoy some of the physical things, you know. And if we do things for them, then they're not going to keep coming back. So they'll do their job, what they have to do in the spiritual. But it's kind of like a celebration, so we feast them. And so whenever, like say a salad came into somebody brought a salad, a tablespoon of the salad would go onto a plate. And then when we did ceremony, it would go into the fire. And that's what we would do, is we have different people from the family, they would put tobacco on top of it and hold it up and offer it to their family member or to our family, and then they would put it in the fire. So then that just made them more stronger too, you know, and it created a stronger spiritual connection. And so you're you know, whatever you think, you know, it's even though if you're not saying it, it's building that spiritual energy. The spiritual energy is here in every little thing.
So in essence, we invited the people into our plane, into our world, served them.
Yeah.
Everyone ate. The older people were served first. The younger people served them.
Last. Yeah.
And then the dishes and everything are left in the house.
Yes.
And this is your house.
Yes.
You stayed in the house with these spirits the night. But when the sun comes up in the morning,
we take everything out and we put all the leftover food outside, and then we can clean up. Because if any of the other spirits want to come in or whatever, they're more welcome, because we open it up to all the ancestors. So, you know, whoever could come in and feast.
Right, and so anybody left over in this plane, what we're telling them in essence, and correct me if I'm not right, we're telling them we love you, but you no longer have any place in this plane. You need to pass on to the next plane. We love you, but this is the end. When dawn comes up, you're gone, and you're not going to return to our plane. We'll still worship you, but, and I think was all of their stuff given away? Or
well, I'll go back to the other one. When a person dies, what we do is that we know that they separate physically and spiritually. And so when a person passes away, that's another thing. When a person passes away, there's a second of time that you go, and it's the same breath or the same feeling as when a baby is born.
Wow.
It's so amazing. Like, I hate to say it, but I like to be there when somebody passes away, because it's so beautiful to feel that wholeness of that spirit. And so when that separation takes place, so then when we leave the body, we're asking the spirit to come with us, and we bring it home with us, or to their home, wherever their body's going to be laid out. And we ask them to stay there, because they don't have to go through the autopsy. They don't have to go through the funeral parlor and all of that stuff. That's all physical stuff. And so we're taking care of them spiritually. And we explain to them that they had passed over, and that they are experiencing a separation of their physical and spiritual. And we reinforce that when they came here, when they were born, they were of spirit, and then we explain to them when they're at birth that they're now in the physical.
Right.
And they need not to travel as much.
Now I'm going to interrupt you here, because I'd love, if possible, that you would explain the other end, the birthing side, to us, but I appreciate this. Thank you.
No, this one's not over. Yeah, this one's part's not over.